Yep, we're live. So, hey everyone, hello. Welcome to the first Bitpanda AMA live stream. We did a AMA on Reddit a couple of weeks ago, and this is the first time we are doing this on YouTube now. So for everyone to watch. And I'm Raphael, I'm responsible for everything content marketing related at Bitpanda. I'm sitting here now with Paul, you know him probably, he's the CEO and co-founder of Bitpanda. And today we want to give you the chance to ask questions across all our social channels. So you can ask on Telegram, you can ask on Facebook, you can ask on Twitter. And the main topics are BEST and the upcoming Global Exchange. So this will be the stuff we'll talk about.
Good.
So yeah, how are you? By the way?
I'm fine, thanks. You?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
So let's jump straight into it. It looks like Bitpanda is doing pretty well right now, and we are hiring a lot of people. And what do you think? How is this developing? How many users will we have soon? How many users do we have now?
Mm-hmm. So the crypto industry is growing quite fast, and we are trying to keep up with everything. So right now we are hiring developers like crazy, but also other departments like marketing and finance and legal. So everything is growing right now to keep up with the pace of the business. And right now we are, I think, already crossed the border to 1 million users. So that's good. And now the goal is to grow even faster. We're bringing out constantly new products, and I think we will be able to grow in the same pace or even faster in the future too.
Cool. And the main topic I think most people are interested in is probably BEST.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's still ongoing and it's our IEO, we currently have 65% sold of the 500 million tokens we're selling. How happy are you with the token sales so far?
Very much. So we structured the token in a way that everybody can get access. We could have structured it like that the hard cap is like at 25 million euros, and we will be able to sell it out in the first second. But that was never the plan of the whole project. The best ecosystem token really needs to develop into its name. So it should be the fuel of the whole ecosystem of Bitpanda. And the only way to achieve this is to be not exclusive, but to really include everyone. And so we are very happy with I think right now 30 million euros that we raised. And we can do a really great amount of work with this money and really strengthen the whole ecosystem even more. Yeah.
So 30 million euros is quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So if our research is correct, I think we are the biggest IEO in Europe ever. And so that's quite the achievement. So thank you to all the users also. And I think from here on, it's we need to really prove that this is not just a successful IEO, because many projects were able to do that, but the important thing comes after. How are we going to develop the platform? Can we grow our volume? Can we grow the product set, the assets that we have on the platform? How can we have a successful exchange launch and develop this further? I think this will be the more interesting part, not the number at the start, but how much is the token worth in a year, for example. Things like this, I think, are getting now more interesting. Yeah.
And a lot of people asked, why are we selling 500 million, and what happens to the unsold tokens?
Mm-hmm. So right now we haven't sold everything. As you said, 65% of it are sold right now. And so this leaves around 150 million right now that will be unsold, but there's still like 20 days or something. Or not even 12 days, I think. So we will, the plan currently is to take the 150 million and add them to the company reserve. The company reserve, the goal for this is actually, we kept a quite big reserve, is to strengthen the ecosystem. So right now we are doing promotions with random cryptocurrencies and do some giveaways here and there, but in the future we really want to focus on promoting new markets, making trading competitions. When we launch new products, we really use the BEST system to include as many people as possible, also give incentive to BEST users, but also use the reserve to really push the products to where they can shine. And I think if we leave ourselves a good amount there, we can give back to the community, but also have the effect on the whole ecosystem that it's getting bigger, and everybody that's also a best holder will profit from this too. So this is not something like a normal coin where it's bad to have a big circle, a big supply. But here is the more people hold the token, the better it is for the whole ecosystem. And that's why we also did, for example, our two airdrops, where we actually decided to use the company reserve to include even more people. So our goal is to really have from day one at least 100,000 people that hold the best token, have access to it, and can use it for paying fees. And that's already a very powerful network. So, and we want to expand on this with the reserve.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we will basically use it to even further spread the reach and do marketing stuff basically with it.
Yeah, marketing, but not like marketing, more like promotional stuff. So people in the ecosystem should get rewards, then also to get more people into the ecosystem, to maybe do something with the tele-friend system. So there's many opportunities there, but mostly this will be used for the exchange also, to do trading competitions, to incentivize people to switch over to the Bitpanda Global Exchange instead of staying, for example, in other exchanges. So I think we can really get creative there. What we are not going to do is just burn them with shitty promotions or shitty giveaways. So that's not our plan. So there always should be a bigger plan behind everything. Yeah.
Okay. Let me have a look. What are actually the advantages and disadvantages of having Austria as a location, as we are based in Austria and the European Union?
Yeah.
What are your experiences as a co-founder of a company like Bitpanda?
Austria is a bit of tricky country for companies, because I think starting up, it's actually a bit harder than in other countries. For example, if we would have launched in the UK, it's easier to get the company registered, to take all the hurdles at the start. But the more advanced you're at the company, the more trust you get from this very bureaucratic system in Austria, where everybody can see into your books. You have to publish everything. For regulatory things, they're very strict. But that also has a plus side, that everybody who's working with you already knows that, okay, you went through all these steps, you are now regulated, you're publishing your financial records and everything, that they know that they can trust you because you are audited by the system in Austria. And I think right now we're at the stage where being in Austria is actually a very big plus point. So yeah, at the start it's worse, now it's much better. So if we would be based in Malta or somewhere else, for example, then you're still in the European Union, but it's actually, you have a much less reliability as a platform. And I think the corporate customers, institutional customers, but also people that invest themselves, they also research this and they come to this realization. Yeah.
So we are not planning to move anywhere, even when we're growing.
I mean, the office you are seeing here, this is a very big investment. We completely furnished everything and have a contract for many years. So we're planning to stay in Vienna, and we're actually looking into getting more space for all the people that we're hiring. So yeah, Vienna, as long as this is possible to stay here. Yeah.
How many people work now here? 120 or something?
Yeah, I think 115, but every day someone new might start here.
Yeah. Okay, so let me have a look. Yeah, someone asked if the Bitpanda Global Exchange is also based in Austria.
Yes, so we decided to not include it into a daughter company, but have it in the Bitpanda company structure. And so this is the exact same that we are doing with the broker. So no differences.
Okay. Here I have a longer question. In the vision paper, you can see that someone is paying with digital assets from us on Amazon. And you can also see a second picture where you can see Tesla and Apple shares. And people are asking, what does this mean for our future?
Yeah, so I think we made it quite clear in the vision that we think that the whole financial asset system that came with cryptocurrencies and other assets doesn't stop at trading. You need to make those assets have a real life connection. And I think the best connection is always the payment system. So very early on, we looked into how we can make all assets that are in crypto spendable, but really liquid. And as we are a platform that really doesn't care what the asset that we have are, so we are very neutral on this side. We also wanted to make the payment aspect very neutral. So in the future, if we expand our assets, let's say to Tesla stocks or Apple stocks, you should have the same option of paying in the supermarket, for example, or paying at an online shop or paying at Amazon. So that's one of our big goals, to not only make those things tradable, but also spendable. Yeah, and also get more asset classes. We started with stable coins at first. We have done gold and silver, and we will expand this in the coming quarters and years. So,
and some people asked about, because we are launching the exchange beginning of August, and there will be 12 trading pairs. I don't know exactly, but does it mean that everything that is available on the Bitpanda platform, on the broker platform, will be added to the exchange as well?
So this is a question of liquidity. On the broker side, we are the market maker, so to speak. So it's no problem to have an asset that is rarely traded. But if you run an exchange and you have a pair that's really rarely traded, for example, Ethereum Litecoin pair, that's very exotic. So there's very little people willing to trade this. So the problem there is, if nobody trades it, nobody's interested in this market, then there's even less traders. So it's like a negative feedback loop. And that's something that we want to prevent. So we really started with our biggest trading pairs. We obviously have the three best pairs because we are the only place to trade this. We have the Pantos pair, which is also very important against Bitcoin, and then the major currencies. And that's it for now. And as soon as we are able to create more markets because we have more liquidity on the platform, then we will think about adding new coins. And if there's a coin where we say, okay, we know that there's enough interest on the platform, we will add it to the exchange. Mm-hmm. So this is only a question about liquidity. This is not we have a personal agenda against, I don't know, Dash or something else. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. If you think there's enough volume, we will add it.
And what about gold and other asset classes?
This one is more like a regulatory hurdle. But we are also looking into this, and the goal is long term to have all the assets all the asset classes on the global exchange. So, but we will also be able to solve this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you think that we will eventually allow margin trading on the global exchange?
So yeah, it's a hard question. We are looking into this, but I also don't want to spoil it too much with something like this, because it's always like if you say, yeah, we want to edit, and then we don't, then people are like, negatively affected. But if you say you don't edit and then you edit, it's also not good. So I would say we are looking into all the features that can be added, but I'm not promising anything.
Okay. So, and then people are asking about the Bitpanda launchpad, which was already announced for the global exchange and for Bitpanda. Can you already somehow explain maybe what kind of IOs will take place on the launchpad, or what is planned for that?
So the big difference between our launchpad and the classic launchpads of other exchanges is that we don't want to focus on the crypto market, because we think the value from the whole technology aspect, from the whole making stuff more liquid, making it more accessible, it's a very powerful tool. Mm-hmm. And we see no reason why you should keep this to the crypto market only. So I think the biggest projects that we will add on the launchpad will be stuff that's in everyday lives, but not yet liquid. So one example, this is really just random talk, but let's say there's a skyscraper in Vienna, and we know it's for sale at, let's say, 150 million. And then we can structure it like this, that we say, we go to a bank and say, hey, if we can raise 50 million with the launchpad, can you give us 100 million to buy out the tower? Then we do an IAO on this. We say, hey, we tokenize this tower. You can sign on and start with €1. You can already participate in a project. We get the 50 million. We finance it with the bank and buy the tower and tokenize it. 1 second later, you can already trade your shares. And that's something that's very powerful because normally people never get included in deals like this. This is always like it's a big private equity company or it's a big real estate company that can buy those things, but you can never buy €1 or €10 of a project like this. It's just impossible. Most often it's even you need to be an accredited investor, have like 1 million net worth and invest €100,000. That just doesn't work for a normal person. So we want to focus really on making stuff that's right now completely liquid. And that's a very powerful tool that's actually nowhere in the whole industry that has anyone done that. And there's projects that start with one half of it. For example, in the US, the first skyscraper was tokenized. But you can trade it now because the infrastructure for this is missing. But we want to build both sides of this. So and I think this will be very interesting because just doing, I don't know, a utility token IO or something, there's no added value for the customers, I think. Yeah. Just marketing.
So it's like we say in our vision, we want to tokenize every asset, digitize every asset, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the thing is use technology for something that was not able to be solved before. And I think that's a very interesting aspect. And I think right now we're at the point where we can do this, and somebody needs to be the first. So why not us?
Cool. Yeah, and the next question is about Best and the Exchange and also Pantos. Will they be on CoinMarketCap eventually?
So CoinMarketCap is a third-party site. So first of all, we have no, how do you say, power to actually force them to do anything. But as soon as the exchange is online, we will be able to satisfy their requirements. And then I would be very surprised if we don't get listed very soon on both coins. So
we are planning to do it basically as soon as the exchange is live.
Exactly. So they have strict requirements. I think we can satisfy them, and then there's no reason to not get listed. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Why are global exchange fees not paid directly with Best? And can you say approximately when in Q4 the fees are paid with Best?
So the question is why it's not already at the start,
I think
fee paying.
Probably.
So right now we are really focusing on launching the exchange and actually making this as smooth as possible. And we didn't want to introduce any big changes into the system very soon after the launch or very early before the launch. So what we did is we said we're going to launch this in Q4, but we tried to do it very early in Q4 and have a very smooth transition for this. And I think this is a good decision instead of rushing something where you actually introduce a bit more difficulty into the system. And I think the 1 or 2 months without this will not be hurtful in the long run. So yeah, that's the reason behind doing this. Yeah.
So we will probably start working on it as soon as the exchange.
I mean, they are already working on it. It's just we don't want to post such a big change a few weeks before the exchange launch, because we are always fan of testing things for months and not just pushing them live and then looking how it works. So,
makes sense. Okay, then the next question. Why should anyone have any motivation to hold Best after the 5th year if there is no fee reduction anymore? And is it just to gain access to the launchpad, or are there other benefits planned?
So 5 years is a very long time, first of all. Yes, there is no fee reduction in the current system, but to be honest, that's not even set in stone. So that's the current model, because we actually feel that the token should at some point has a, how do you say, like a point of existing outside of us really, how do you say, like funding it, like with reduction in fees. So this is what the first point, and I think we will be able to give very good advantages to the best holders in the future, so that there is a reason to hold them even without getting any reduction in fees. But on the other hand, 5 years is a long time, and if we say, okay, we feel that the token still needs this aspect of it, then we can introduce it. I mean, we are not taking away something. In this case, we would giving the token holder something more. So this decision is always on our side. But to be honest, I feel like we will be able to actually, outside of the whole fee reduction, offer so many advantages that this will absolutely not be a topic in 5 years, I think. Yeah.
I think this is a pretty specific question. I don't know if you can answer this. How many people claimed the best airdrops? Do you know this?
So we will do a report on this. I don't have the number right now with me, but I think it's around 40 or 50,000 already, something like this. But don't quote me on this because I don't have the numbers.
We will communicate it.
Yeah, we will do a blog post afterwards where we say, hey, so many people invested in the IO, so many claimed the airdrops. Because I think the transparency in this regard is very needed.
Okay, good. Let me see.
No more questions.
Yeah, I have one here. Can you describe, because we did the Pantos technology ICO last year, and we are doing the best IO now. Can you describe the relationship between those two projects, Pantos on the one hand side and Best on the other side?
Yeah, so they are very different projects. Pantos is really the research project that we are doing for 18 months now, focusing really on getting groundbreaking new technology. And we are working together with the Technical University on this. And the scope of the project is really to get this technology to a point where every crypto project in the whole world should be able to use this technology to deliver a higher utility for their users. So to really have this multi-blockchain aspect integrated into new assets, which we are a very big fan of because we think that this is a missing point right now. Today, it's like everyone is forced to list on the New York Stock Exchange. There's no alternative because if you list on one of the others, so the Ethereum would be the New York Stock Exchange, every other exchange, there's no alternative because then you miss out on all the people that trade on the New York Stock Exchange. And right now, this really is the case. So many people actually decide to go for Ethereum just because of that reason. They know maybe Ethereum is not even the most advanced anymore, or maybe not the most stable, but they can't risk it because it's still the biggest market for the assets. And if there was an alternative for this, I think many projects would instantly say, why not? Why shouldn't I give this advantage to my users? So this aspect we want to solve. And I think we're at a good pace right now to doing that. And Best goes the complete other way. So Best is, we have our ecosystem on Bitpanda. We have the broker, we have the exchange, we will soon have other products that are coming to the platform. And we want to have something like the fuel for the ecosystem. And this is a token that doesn't try to solve anything technical. So this will be a very simple token that doesn't have any features, doesn't have any fancy smart contract codes inside it. The only thing it has is a code where we can actually freeze the token so we can relaunch it later with the Pantos technology. But other than that, this is purely a construct to actually help with giving users advantages when they are using the platform. For example, the fee reduction or the minimum fee redemption price. This is all something that we want to give people that help us build the ecosystem. And if they are part of the ecosystem, they should have an advantage. And that's our opinion. And so the projects are very, very different. The only thing similar is that it's the same company that is doing both, because Pantos is built by Pantos GmbH, which is a 100% dollar company of us. So yeah, and we are fully supporting both. So this is not like Pantos was until now it's Best. Not at all. So this is two completely different things. There's also completely different people working on it, because people working on Best, they will not be able to develop Pantos smart contract code or something. So people don't have to worry about us losing focus on this. We're actually getting more people for Pantos at the moment. Yeah.
What is the plan with Pantos? Because there is a new prototype coming up in August, and also the next white paper. So can you talk a little bit about the plans for Pantos in the next few weeks, months?
Yeah, so we're gonna continue the path because I think the stuff we did right now is very good. So focusing on getting results for the technology that we want to solve, this is the most important part. Changing something now to be more marketing company or just getting partnerships before you actually have solved the underlying problem doesn't help in any way. This might help the price for a short while, but if you are honest with yourself, you know, long term, things can only be improved if you actually solve a substantial problem. Like Bitpanda, we solved how to enter the crypto market, and Best will help how to navigate into our ecosystem. But if Pantos doesn't solve anything and we're just doing marketing, then in 5 years this will be a completely irrelevant project. And that's what I always want to communicate the Pantos community, because some people are always focusing on this, you need to do marketing. Yeah, but you need to finish the product first. You need to have this approach where you say, this is working, I can put my name on this without having to lie to somebody or anything else. Mm-hmm. So that's so important for me to tell the people. And that's why I also say that the whole roadmap that we are on right now to develop this technology, I think is very good. So we are trying to get more researchers, we are trying to get more funding for this, we're trying to get more people inside the company for this. So I think this is a good roadmap, and we will try to keep this also. Yeah.
Okay, so will the upcoming Pantos prototype be the last, or how is this planned? What is happening then?
So right now we switched from one prototype, from one technology to another one. So this is now the first prototype of the new technology, and there's never only one prototype. So I can guarantee you that there will be certain levels of getting more complex, trying to improve all our prototypes. So this will be a process. If people think this will be done in August and then the technology is finished and the next 10 years we don't need to do anything, they are lying to themselves, because that's not how that works. Even like basic technology, like sending coins, they have so much to do with, for example, Bitcoin and Ethereum on improving these things, that in the last 5 years there weren't really any big changes, because this is a process that takes very long. People are always frustrated when they think about Lightning Network or something else. This was years in development, and already now it's also not at the stage where you say you can handle billions of transactions. So this is always a process that takes time. And we are trying to solve a problem that's much more complex than sending something. We basically have to have multiple accounts on multiple networks that need to be synchronized in real time so that nobody can cheat. And that's something that's not easy to do, and this takes time. And people thought that this in 1 year is done and we will launch it, then the project is over. Now we just need to do marketing. Yeah, that's not going to happen. No.
Now I have a more general Bitpanda question.
Mm-hmm.
We have an Android app.
Yeah.
Why don't we have an iPhone app?
Good question. So we will soon have this, soon TM. And no, we're working very hard on this. We had some setbacks with the iOS developers in the past, but right now we're at a very good pace to launch this in the next few months. And I think that's the goal, then, to have all the platforms included. Everybody should have the same access. And in the long run, we want to have it that each platform, be it Windows or iOS or Android, should have the same feature set, so that everybody can do the same things on the same platform. For example, the I/O already, this was able to be done on the Android app as well as the web app, so that nobody is like advantaged because they don't have Android or a PC or something.
How is this solved with the Global Exchange? Will there be an app for the Global Exchange?
So for the Global Exchange, we focused on the web app and the API. So the API is a very strong implementation, so there's different ways to actually connect to it. And so this will be the major communication point. But we also focused on customers that don't want to deal with writing their own code. So there is a very nice web interface. But what we said, we don't want to focus on apps at the start, because we feel like trading, you have so much information that this should be at the screen size where you can actually relay information that's, relay enough information to make good, educated decisions on trading. So, but what we did is we really optimized this for mobile browser usage. So if you don't have access to a computer, laptop, or anything, for example, on an iPad or even on a bigger smartphone, the screens are very optimized for this. So you don't need to have a big screen. You can trade from the smaller ones. But to be honest, personally, I'm always a fan of having like good big charts, really insight into the order book, and to see a good order mass, so you can actually click around and everything. So this, I think, is very important, and I think we delivered a very good product there. Yeah.
Okay, so will Bitpanda partner or work with any other big exchanges to further its reach within the digital asset space? Think New York Stock Exchange.
This is a good question. In general, I have no problem with partnering up with like institutional customers like banks or other stock exchanges. But the question is always like, what can we get out of deals like this? So just to partner with them for the name doesn't make sense for me. For example, companies like Nasdaq, they have very good tech, they have very long experience in actually processing high speed, high frequency orders. I think there you can actually learn quite a thing from them. So in general, yes, but there's no projects planned in the short term for this.
So maybe in the future we will look into this, but not at the moment, basically.
I mean, we're looking into many things, but there's nothing on the roadmap where we say this is something that's around the corner.
Okay. This is an interesting question. How does Bitpanda combat global regulatory concerns? For example, wash trading, manipulation, when listing crypto projects, something like this.
So with very strict terms on the exchange, so you can't actually do self-trading, you can't do wash trading, you can't manipulate the prices just to exploit other people, etc. So there, we take this very seriously. We also have a monitoring system for exactly these things. And for the listing coins, we were always very, very conservative with adding new projects, because we're always in the opinion that people and projects need to prove themselves before they can be listed. That's why we, for example, in 2017 have nearly added no hype coins, because most of them don't exist anymore today. And I think that's just something that you have to keep in mind. So when we add new projects, we will really have to vouch them and check them out. Obviously, we can't predict the future, so projects can end without any success, but at least we don't want any projects where the founders run away with the ICO money or something. So something like this we keep very seriously. And also for the listing process, right now we don't have any standardized way. Right now it's all we decide internally how we deal with this. If we have some official listing process, then we would obviously share this also publicly.
Okay. Good. Next question. Many people want to see their project on a platform. I mean, you already answered this. How do you decide what projects to list? That's a good question. Why should someone decide to use the Bitpanda Global Exchange or not any other exchange?
Yeah, so this is a good question, because that's also the first thing we asked ourselves before we build the project, obviously. And we feel that the cryptocurrency exchange market is right now very dependent on a few players. And also some parts, for example, the fiat pairs are very underrepresented. So there's a reason why, for example, the USDT markets are so strong, because everybody is included. Why is this? Because most exchanges have very big trouble actually getting fiat money into the crypto world. And we solved this problem for 5 years already. So this part where we can actually give a very easy access to, for example, Bitcoin Euro pair or Bitcoin Swiss francs pair or something. And this is one of the big things that we can solve really well. The crypto part, I think there is a big competition, but if you are on an exchange and you're already using the Bitcoin Euro pairs, you will also use the crypto to crypto pairs. That's just a normal way. And what we actually focused on is we don't want to compete with just the crypto, the fiat pairs and being exclusive or something like this. But we said we want to have a pricing that's actually cheaper than the whole competition, or at least as cheap as the cheapest ones. So right now we haven't released the pricing yet, but it is very low. So this is 10 basis points cheaper. And I think there is no fiat exchange in the whole world that is cheaper than us, at least not a regulated exchange. So maybe some Chinese weird one that's faking the volume, but yeah. So that's the main reason. So really good deposit and withdrawal flow, really cheap. And from a technology perspective, we really focused on be scalable, be without any troubles for the users, so very easy to use. And also the API connections, we try to orient ourselves on the industry standard. So not use anything weird or try to reinvent the wheel, but really look what everybody's doing and provide the same standard. Because people that already use other APIs, they don't want to build everything new for a new exchange. They just want to copy paste their code and add a new API token. And yeah.
So it means that with the API, you can, for example, set up trading bots or do other stuff.
Yeah. So like us, we are also a company that uses other exchanges. We have to connect to them, and there's not people logging into an exchange and placing an order every 5 minutes. You automate those things. So you have an algorithm for hedging, and that needs to decide where to hedge. And so you connect to as many exchanges as possible, and then try to figure out where's the cheapest price and everything. And we really want to compete here on a pricing basis and also on a liquidity basis. So we really want to make the global exchange as successful as possible, so that people have no reason to go to another exchange in Europe, and also outside of Europe.
So global exchange means that it's really available globally, basically.
So yeah, the global exchange is basically the first product that's really available everywhere. There's obviously a few countries that we had to exclude for regulatory reasons, for example, the US. But in general, nearly all countries in the world are now available. And you can really, I don't know, be from Canada and start trading on a global exchange. So this is not just a marketing talk. You really can transfer money in and out, deposit crypto, etc.
And you also have this light verification thing now, right?
Yeah, so until now, you actually had to speak with an operator via video chat, because this is a very safe way to do this. And it's also compliant with the European law on verification standards and anti-money laundering. And now for the countries outside of Europe, but also for the European countries, we have an alternative where you can actually just use your documents to make a photo of them and upload them, and then there's an algorithm checking everything. And this is much faster, but also a bit more limited from what you can do with it. So, for example, using credit card, we are still needing the full verification. But the light verification is very quick, and for the exchange, you have the full features. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, then will you be able to use portfolio trackers on the exchange with the API connection, right?
Yeah. So every portfolio tracker that will implement us will be easily usable. We build the API with this in mind, so this is actually very easy. Also, creating API tokens, you can make them read-only access, so that they can't run away with your funds or anything. You also have a complete API key management, so you can have many keys, many apps, and yeah. So we are already in talks with a few of them that they list us from the start. But I'm sure as soon as we've proven that we can consistently have many users, that all the apps will list us on their own also.
Okay. Yeah. Then again, a global exchange question.
Yeah.
you mentioned, or Eric also mentioned, that it's coded in-house.
Yeah.
And how does this work? Are there any audits? Is there some kind of hack testing or something like this going on? Or how can I, as a noob, imagine this?
So this is actually a very important topic for us. The reason why we build it in-house is actually a security aspect, because if you buy a software and then just do modifications or something, you're actually lacking the know-how how everything fits together. You're always just relying on this core matching engine or some other parts that you bought. But we said from the start, okay, no, we want to understand every aspect of this. We want to have complete control over it. Also, if we change something in the future or modify something, we want to understand how this will react in the whole system. So we decided to make this. This obviously takes longer, but in the end, you actually have a product that's much more modifiable, and also you understand it really well. And the problem with this is actually that it's then not time proven like some software that you can buy from existing exchanges or other institutions. So we went to auditors. They really went through every line of code. They tried to exploit this and everything. We did some penetration testing, so people actually got the API access and told them, try to break the system, try to steal money, try to get access of other accounts, etc. So we really went to many rounds of doing this, and we are very confident that we closed everything that's possible to exploit on the exchange. But as much energy as you put into this, there will be some stuff that's where there will be bugs, for example, or small exploits. But for this, we have our bug bounty program, so people can always report this and earn a reward for actually figuring this out. So yeah.
This will be communicated as soon as the exchange launches, and then we will basically.
Yeah, I mean, the bug bounty program is also live already for the broker. So if you figure out problems there, you can also report them. But it will be the same program for the exchange. So if you already have access to the exchange somehow, you can already report this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is also, I've seen this a lot. Is it the same account? So do you need one account? Do you use both?
So this is like Google is doing. You have one Gmail account, and then you can use all Google services, Google Drive, Google Photos, whatever. And the same idea, we have a Bitpanda. You have your Bitpanda account, and with one click, you can sign on to the exchange. And in the future, if you have other services that have a different interface, you can always use it the same. So you log in centrally, and then you can go to the exchange and with one click log in there. So nothing complicated for anyone.
And I will also be able to transfer funds and crypto between the two, right?
Yes, so the exchange and the broker share the same fund management system. So if you deposit on the exchange or on the broker, you can instantly move the funds for free and transfer them back and forth however you want. So yeah, this is something that's absolutely necessary, and this will be working from day one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then another, it's a little bit of an off-topic question.
Yeah.
People are asking, will we add PayPal as a payment option?
So payment option, this will never work, because PayPal has a 180 days chargeback protection for a customer. So this means that in 197 days, you could go to PayPal and say, oh, I didn't do this transaction, please book the money back. And then we would have to prove that he really did the deposit. So this is like an extreme amount of work involved with this. Mm-hmm. So very early on, we decided to not do this. For a period of time, we actually offered withdrawals with PayPal, mm-hmm. but PayPal decided in Europe that they don't want to be involved with crypto anymore. So right now, this is not an option. But in general, we are very open to payment providers if there is the demand from the customers. So if PayPal opens up their policy, we would probably use them as a payout option in the future again. Yeah.
Okay. Then another question for the launchpad. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to, when I want to conduct my own IO on the page as a company or as a private person, how is the process? Can I go to Bitpanda and ask about it, or how can I imagine this?
So we have a business development team, so you obviously always can go to to us and pitch your product or project. But the thing is, we want to focus on really big projects and really use this as a tool where there's enough liquidity. So we will never do an IO with like 1 million euros, because if you have a token like supply that's only worth 1 million euros, the trading volume will be nearly zero, maybe 10,000 euros a day or something. So this is very uninteresting for an initial exchange offering. That's actually the goal, is to get trading volume for the project, and everybody that invested can trade in and out of the coin or the whatever token. So most likely we will approach all the projects where we think this is a good match. But we are always welcome to actually applications of different projects, because even if we don't do an IO together with them, there's always ways to work together. So we are in talks with many crypto projects that are very interesting for us, because they provide some service or some cool product.
Okay. Good. Then let's see. I'm looking for questions.
Oh, we're ready. 46 minutes.
Yes.
Time flies.
14 minutes left.
Bring on the questions, guys.
You can ask questions everywhere. I'm just figuring out how to. Let me see here. Yeah, we already answered this. We answered this. Yeah. Let's do a Pantos question again. Will it be listed on other exchanges? Because at first it will be listed on the global exchange, but are you planning to list it somewhere else as well, or how?
So I'm not a fan of actually going the route of paying for listings, because I think the money can be spent much better on actually developing stuff and paying people to do research. So we got so many offers you can't imagine from exchanges that wanted like only 5 Bitcoin, only 10 Bitcoin to list something, which incredible amounts for something where you can actually pay someone a whole year and do research instead of getting listed on exchange, which doesn't add value to the project. And so we're going to do the listing on the Bitpanda Global Exchange. And afterwards, I'm quite sure that some exchanges will want to list them for free. And then we will help those exchanges if they actually legit exchanges, but we will not pay for listings, because I think the money that we raised, we were very clear that we said we want to spend this on developing the project and not as paying off some other exchange to do something that doesn't add value. And I mean, you know, the stories floating around about the exchanges that add the coin and then fake trading volume, and people think, oh yeah, this is a very promising project or something, but in the end it's just wash trading and there's no value added. So yeah, not a fan of this. But we will, if exchanges see the merit of Pantos, I have no problem helping them, also technically showing them how to add the coin and everything, and providing documents, etc. So no problem there.
Okay. Yeah. Then another question, I think this is coming up a lot as well. You probably already answered it in some way, but how is the global exchange different to other exchanges? Like there is the one big exchange, and how is the global exchange different? What do you think?
So, I mean, what we are doing is to be very strong in the fiat area. So there are not many big exchanges in Europe that actually focus on this. The two that are there, I think there's some parts that they can improve drastically. For example, selection of assets. And on the other hand, technology-wise, they can improve many things. And there are some exchanges where we can learn many things from them, be it on asset selection, be it on technology, or how they handle everything. But what we actually do very well is, for example, customer support. We do very good fund handling. We are extremely good with our custody service of taking control and security of the customer funds into account. And I think this, compared with very good technology and very cheap pricing for exchange, makes us very interesting. And I think I always try to build products where I say I would use that myself. And for the exchange, this is very true. When I trade, I want to trade on something with like good charts, like trading view charts, then good reaction speed. Like I don't want to wait 5 seconds and see if my order is coming through, but this should be very instant. And everything of this we're doing very well. So I think the people that want to have a trusted company in Europe that actually has a license, running an exchange and being really responsible with the money, then they now have an alternative. While before there's US companies, there's China companies, or maybe offshore companies running the exchanges, I'm not 100% sure if a normal person should trust them. I mean, sure, everybody can do weeks of research, but then you still get all the hacks or tether scandals and everything. So you never really know. And I think as for companies and institutions, they really have a hard time parking money on an exchange that's not in a regulated space. And that limits it to one exchange in Europe right now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, now again a best question.
Mm-hmm.
Why has Bitpanda decided to create a utility token and not a security token?
I mean, the whole reason for the token was to have a like customer, how do you say, like loyalty program basically. And I don't think you need a security token aspect to this, because the problem is with security tokens you open up a really big issue for everybody who owns the token. So from a legal perspective, it's a financial asset, and financial assets need to be registered. So you actually need to know who holds them. The buying process is much more strict. You need the prospectus. So, and the problem afterwards is, so the IO I think could be done, but then the trading aspect, for example, we can't do it right now. And there's basically one company in the world who can do it right now. They don't want to do it. So the problem is with this, then you have a security token. Maybe you have 10,000 people who bought it. How can they trade? There's no automated system where you can do it. So this was already a big no-no for us, for our own project. In the future, we want to be able to do that, where we say, okay, we can launch a security token project. We can help the teams with setting up everything, but then also we can trade it instantly afterwards. We have the licenses then ready. Right now we don't. Right now nobody really does. So the security token was never an option. And to be honest, I looked at the whole space of security tokens. Nobody is ready with this. So all the projects that are doing this, they are telling all about the perks that you can give with security tokens, like you make it like a bond or equity or something. That's nice, but the whole reason for stocks and bonds was always that you can very easily trade them, but you can't with security tokens. Actually, if you trade them more professionally, you can already get arrested for trading securities without a license. So we don't want to do this to our customers. We don't want to do this to ourselves. So we decided to go with this. And I think the token that we structured right now can do everything that we wanted to do. So there's no reason to do the overkill route of security tokens.
So STOs is something that's coming up with the launchpad. Probably.
I mean, it's already a thing in Europe or in the world. But the problem is, if you can't trade it, it's useless, in my opinion. And as soon as we have the whole range of services with this, so issuing, fundraising, and trading, and settlement of the trading, then we can go out and use the security token vehicle to help a project. Mm. But before, it's just stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I think we nearly have 1 hour. Let's do one last question.
Yeah.
We already talked about this, but people are asking it. Will there be an app for the exchange eventually or at launch?
Yeah, at launch, no. So the exchange, it has a very optimized mobile browser experience. It's really good. I tested it on iPhone and on Android. So there's nothing that we can't do on mobile right now. But I think in the future, yes, I mean, mobile is getting more important every year. So I think this will be a challenge to actually get a mobile app, because most exchanges have really big problems getting good mobile apps. There might be all the features in there, but it's really ugly, really hard to navigate. And we want always to be like a customer experience where people can feel like they have complete control over everything. If everything is hidden or very complicated to do, you don't feel like that. You feel like, okay, am I now at my bank where I'm trading stocks again, where it's a shitty interface and everything? We don't want to do that. So yes, in the future, it is hard now. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's wrap it up. We have 56 minutes, I think.
That's good.
I think that's good. Yeah, thank you for watching. We will do more AMAs on Reddit and also on YouTube, on live YouTube in the future. So we will announce more stuff like this when we have other projects or.
Yeah, thank you, Rafael, for hosting.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
It's my office anyway. So.
Yeah, we visited the office. It's fine.
And for the guys watching, there's still 12 days left of the best IO. Don't miss it.
Don't miss out.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye-bye.